Hey guys, this is Ira. I am doing a vlog August 26th, Tuesday. It is different because I am in front of a big sign that has a bunch of red light and some other colors and stuff. But anyway, this is the vlog. We woke up early. We've been doing that a couple days in a row now, earlier than normal. And it was kind of a funny story. There was a young couple next to us that their car alarm started going off, and it sounded, it reminded us of ours, because we have a security feature where it's like bam, 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 the horn. And that happens if you lock a door, one or more doors, while a door is open, or a hatch, and what happened, that arms an alarm. And the only way you could, if you had a key fob, you could unlock it, I think. No, it would disarm it. But we don't have that. So the only thing you can do is lock and unlock the door from the outside with the key. And we've had some funny incidents with that going wrong, especially when our lock mechanism stopped working. We had no way to turn it off, and we learned at that point it stopped after 5 minutes on its own. So like, there were some times with driving around with the alarm just going off. But this couple had the same thing, and they ended up unhooking the battery. And anyway, the kid, I was up anyway, but then I just started, Nikki went to go to the bathroom, and I kind of started getting things settled and situated for the day. And he was like, sorry if we woke you up. And I got to talking to him, and there's the University of Wyoming here, and then there's Wyoming Tech, which is, I think, kind of a subdivision of the university, or an offshoot kind of thing. And they're going to that, the Wyo Tech, and they had an apartment lined up. It was a young couple, and the apartment person, or landlord, or whatever, or property manager, was like, okay, just send us $1,800 on Venmo. And then when they got here to move in, there were still people in it, living in it. So they couldn't get their money back, and they couldn't get in. And so they are living in their car for now. And I guess the Wyo Tech semester starts next month, I think they said. And it's a 9-month course, but they're trying to get jobs, and but for now, they're, as far as a place to stay, they're living in the car. And so we talked to them for quite a while, because we kind of ended up living in the car out of a kind of a situation that had to do with the place we were staying, that maybe wasn't the most scrupulous, I guess, not on our part, but so we kind of could relate, because we were kind of thrust into this. and that's how they were. But I told them, I said, hats off to you for not just throwing in the towel. And they were like, yeah, we almost did a couple of times. And they seemed quite, afterwards, after talking to them, I kind of realized they seemed pretty concerned about safety. And I remember being like that in the beginning, like, oh my gosh, somebody's gonna do something to us, you know, and that just doesn't happen. I'm not saying it never happens to anyone, but it we've been doing this over a year, and in all kinds of places, and people just aren't doing that. Even the crazy, whacked out, druggy, homeless people. And if they did, you know, it's like, well, good luck surviving our bear spray and knives and whatever. But so I hope they start to feel better. It took me a while to be comfortable with it, but at some point you just realize we're fine. And so that's cool. They're both going to be diesel mechanics, or that's what they're getting certified. They said they'll get a bunch of certifications out of the program, so that's pretty cool, I thought. And I'm sure they'll make a lot of money if they become diesel mechanics. And we just tried to encourage them. And so yeah, that was cool. Just the interesting people you meet, and I thought that was cool. They're just kind of doing whatever it took to stick it out and, you know, stay the course. After that, we went to the park and we did our breakfast. Our crow's friends, our crow children came, and we gave them some English muffins, it was this time. And they seemed happy about that. And then from there, we go to a south satellite parking for the university and get on the free bus to go to the library. And then we work on our writing and stuff. The last couple of days I've been trying to read, do some reading, you know, because, you know, I'm kind of realizing it's like, if I want to have interesting things to say, I probably need to read a lot, you know, read broadly and that kind of stuff, you know, audio or video or reading books. In the sense that we have the access to that library, I do prefer to try to read a lot of different stuff, because it's such a huge, vast resource of just a wide variety of material. So I did that. I had the thought of like, what, like, you know, you go to a college to get a degree, but it's like you could theoretically just get the degree through the books, the course books, the course materials from the library. You wouldn't have the degree, but you'd have the knowledge. And it would be for free. And I was kind of looking on that. I was like, has anybody done something like that? And I was kind of like, I started out kind of really broad and shooting for the moon. I was like, has anybody ever just like basically read an entire library? This library is massive. It's over 1 million books. But I kind of researched, and I found this interesting article about a woman named Phyllis Rose, who was in New York City, and there was this one old library there that she was always visiting. And I guess apparently it was founded in like 1756 or something, and even George Washington checked out books there. But I don't remember what library it was. I don't even know if they said. But she ended up getting the idea of, well, what if I just picked an entire shelf of books and just read the entire shelf. And she set some criteria, like you couldn't, like one of the criteria was that criterion was that the shelf could contain no more than 3 books by the same author. And I can't remember what all the other requirements were. It sounded like maybe it was mostly fiction. But she read through the shelf and she wrote a book about it, and I don't know, that was interesting to me because it was on par with kind of the concept I was thinking of, and it was a unique thing that I don't know that had been done before, and it seemed like she didn't think it had either. And this article is on theguardian.com. They were interviewing her, and she described herself as an piste reader, and I didn't know that word, piste. It means like off trail, I guess. Piste is like a downhill skiing slope, but she that really just kind of struck me, this concept of going off trail, because I think I've kind of talked about that in some of my stuff, or even written about it in my blogs, and it kind of dawned on me. It's like that's kind of what I want to do here with my life. Like, I like to do that in the outdoors. I've recently did all this bushwhacking stuff and going into the non-blaze places where there's no trails blazed, and I do kind of take that approach in libraries. I just like to go stroll through sections and see what looks interesting, and not knowing even what section I'm going into. And then within that section, once I see what it is, maybe it's like forestry or poetry or like medical stuff, then I try to find something that looks interesting and just see what I find. And it kind of dawned on me, it's like that's how I feel about it. I guess I would call myself kind of like that. That's how I take it, my approach to things in general. Even with music, I like to, I've never had like a specific artist or genre, maybe, or like my taste with music have always been very eclectic. Like, I might have some favorite songs, but I don't. It's like I don't have. It's not. I don't necessarily like a favorite band or artist for the most part. It's like I just like to look at a variety of things and try my hand at playing them. Especially, I like to try all kinds of stuff. There are certain things I don't have the ability to even try, which that'd be cool to rectify someday, but a lot of stuff I do, and so I just like to approach it that way. And like I talked about with the outdoor stuff, I like to take that and approach, and even just socially, a lot of the times I like to talk to just different people in the wild, kind of, in different situations. Another thing she said was libraries are like coral reefs. They're a threatened ecosystem, and she was saying she was concerned. She said, what makes me melancholy is the thought of books disappearing from libraries. And the William Jewell Library in Liberty, Missouri actually digitized all their books, supposedly, and they have no books. They have 0 books, and that's just so hard to believe. And I think it's sad. This article, I think, was about 11 years old or something like that. Or no, it was written in 2011, I think. And so that was kind of sad to see that has happened, and that people were anticipating that. But another thing she said was there's a kind of serendipity that happens in libraries that never happens online. This was that Phyllis Rose lady. And that also struck me because it's like, I would agree with that. And I'm probably going to maybe blog on this, maybe. You wade into the stacks of books, maybe not even necessarily knowing what section you're in, and you just don't know. It's like it's less like you don't know what book you're going to find, and more like you don't know what book is going to find you. It's like, and it might be something that just is like a bolt from the blue kind of thing, get some kind of big idea out of it, and that you wouldn't have expected, you know. And with the online stuff, you're pretty much you're searching something specific. So there's a preconceived, or this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm looking for, and that's what you get for the most part. But even then, the search engines filter what you're going to see, and so it's not like you're really going into this online. It's not like you're going into the information world, like we call it the information age. But it's like, is it really the information age, or is it more like you're just getting spoon-fed all your preconceived thoughts and ideas? And it's like, I don't know, that's just very interesting stuff, something to think about. But I agree. I think the libraries are a very valuable resource, and that there's something very special there, and it's free, and it people should take advantage of it. And anyway, that's just what I think. So yeah, I kind of had some thoughts about just how to go through and kind of going back to like trying to read through the whole library. Obviously, I can't do that, but I thought more like you could kind of choose some topics you'd be interested in, and just kind of go into those sections and look at titles and scan these books and go deeper if you see something you like. If you don't, go back and get another title. Well, and the other thing that's cool, they have all these journals, and they have them back like decades back too, and bound in books, like magazines, some that are not scholarly, but some that are, and different things like that. And you can read that kind of stuff. Of course, fiction. And I think also you should occasionally go into a section that you wouldn't have gone into otherwise, maybe, and try to read something, because you never know what you're going to find. And that made me, I heard something weird. Thinking about that serendipitous experience of a library, it made me think of something, and I wrote it down. Let me see, did I type it on here? Yeah, you never know what you might find if you go off trail, and if you never go off trail, you'll never know what you might have found. So it's like going off trail, or off piste, as you put it. It links, it goes hand in hand with serendipity, I think, in that quote, or that thing I said. I came up with that, and I think it's kind of profound. Anyway, and there's a mouse running. So yeah, I read some interesting stuff today. The New Scientist magazine, talking about health expectancy, and I guess the World Health Organization has a downloadable screening tool to determine what they call your intrinsic capacity, which is, I guess, how their scientists are measuring your health expectancy. It's like how healthy are you, essentially, by some kind of objective measures. And they're trying to make that match your health expectancy match up more with your life expectancy. So I think I'm going to try to do that at some point. Check that out. Another thing, there was an article in that magazine about chronic fatigue syndrome and how they have found a genetic signal. Basically, that genetic factors could contribute to risk of developing chronic fatigue syndrome. So that is kind of a big deal, because it's like, it was always before just symptoms based, and now it's kind of like, oh, well, that looks like there's this common denominator. And one of the genes involved is an immune system related gene. And one of the scientists involved, Jackie Cliff at Brunel University of London, said, my thought has always been that there is something different about the immune system in people with chronic fatigue syndrome. And I know I tend to get like every sickness that comes down the pike, and I have felt like I have something similar to chronic fatigue, and but I did discover this N-acetylcysteine supplement that I think has helped a lot. So anyway, a lot of ideas and stuff, and I've gone pretty long now, so I don't want to go on much longer. But we discovered the Taco Bell cheesy bean and rice burrito, $1, 420 calories, 9 grams of protein. And we had some for lunch and for dinner. And we went on a walk after lunch, which I think helped our energy in the afternoon. We DoorDashed. We made about 115. I did a run. I went on a run around the campus. And at night, while Nikki was charging stuff in the Taco Bell, and we came here and got ready for bed, and now I'm doing this. So at some point I'd like to, I guess, keep talking longer, because I got a lot of ideas and stuff, but I guess I just feel like storage might be an issue. But I guess I did get rid of a lot of stuff on the phone, so maybe I shouldn't let that make the decision for me. I don't know about the upload time. It seems like that's a struggle sometimes for the phone. But anyway, yeah. So, and if you like any of this stuff I talk about, I'm on Instagram and Facebook. Everything I put on Instagram is supposed to be copying over to Facebook. I don't get on Facebook much, but everything should be showing up there. And then I'm here on YouTube, of course, with this stuff mostly. And occasionally I try to put stuff on TikTok. I probably should do that more consistently. And have a blog on my Google site, which I occasionally put the URL for on my Instagram and Facebook. And I just discovered Google has a blogging platform or site called Blogger, and it's a Google product. So I had made the Google site for the blog, and I didn't know there was one specific to blogging. So I might just start putting it on both, and I might start putting my blogs. I'll probably start putting my blogs as articles on Medium, and so you can check out all that stuff. But the social media component has videos and photos. Sometimes I just try to put stuff showing like what we're doing, kind of the behind the scenes type thing, and what we're doing that day. And so I guess that's it for tonight. We're gonna try to get up early again tomorrow and be productive again, and maybe see our crows again. We'll see. And I feel like there's something I'm forgetting. What is it? Another thing, I was reading about blogging, like how to come up with blog ideas, and that was kind of an interesting thing to research. One guy was like, look, just blog about what you do, because otherwise you're kind of creating a fictitious person version of yourself. And I don't know if I agree with that, but I do like the idea of blogging about what you do, but also blogging about what you think about. And the Google AI researchers said, try to capture your ideas. And thinking about that like that, I was surprised at how many ideas I captured throughout the day today, and I put them on like an iPhone, a note on the iPhone. And so there's so many ideas that we have that we just don't value. We just kind of like, oh yeah, and then we just kind of go on or just space out or whatever. But when I did that, I was like, man, I have a lot of stuff I could write about and research about and learn about and read about. So that was something interesting that I think everyone could benefit from doing. Don't discount too much. And I know everybody's busy, you got things that distract you, but to some extent it's worth trying to capture your ideas and what you think about things, and not just reacting. I think social media kind of sets us up to react to whatever is trending, and I think that's unfortunate. I think we can engage with that to some extent, but I think we have to control it and limit it, or else we're not living our own life or thinking our own thoughts to some extent. It's like, I guess that's not necessarily, you can think critically about it, but it's like, why don't you look, it helps to look at a world outside of all that too. There's so much more. You don't want to just be thinking about only what is fed to you through that little, narrow bandwidth on the social media. So anyway, okay, well, I guess I'll stop for now. And if you made it to the end, good job. That was probably that's a pretty long one, and we'll see if this uploads. All right, thank you.